All right, here we go. Rob G, we got breaking news today from the association. Chris Paul is done.
Yeah, I don't know if this is breaking news because he's kind of been done for a few months now at this point, but it is official, like a referee with the whistle. Chris Paul has retired from the NBA after 21 seasons. He was famously sent home by the Los Angeles Clippers at the end of last year because he was beefing with Ty Lue, wasn't speaking to him. They had just had enough to hear with him, so they sent him home. They traded him unceremoniously to the Raptors about a week and a half ago. The Raptors tried to reroute him. They couldn't, so they waived him, and then Chris Paul was like, you know what? Rather than hang on for whatever last 25 games of the season, let me just call it a career. CP3, the point guard, retired.
And, Kelvin, at this point, there's ways of going out 21 years in the NBA. Mm-hmm. And, we always talk about it. Is it good luck or good riddance? For Chris Paul, I think it's good riddance. Stuck around too long. The way he was dumped in a place that, this, Lob City, and he had all this love. He was coming back to go out a certain way, right, and have people feel good about him and all that. He lost that because of whatever shenanigans that he did with the Clippers to turn people off to him. And I'm just being honest. I've covered the league for a long time. We know what a player he is, but he rubbed people the wrong way along the way. And that's a long road, 21 NBA seasons. And what happens is people put up with a lot of stuff when you can play and make a difference, right? As soon as you can't do that, those days are over. People aren't going to put up with the rubbing people the wrong way, treating people a certain way or whatnot. And I think that's why the Clippers, the middle of the night, they had to fly in. Remember that, right? The middle of the night to tell him to pack his bags and get out of here. I mean, that speaks volumes, especially for a guy who played in the organization for a long time, had some success, put that organization with Lob City on the map in NBA America, and that's the way it ended. So that's on Chris Paul.
I put it like this. Chris Paul is, let's say he had 21 years. I'm going to split it up into 20. Let's say it's 10 and 10. He is the most interesting of his peers, if you will, in that LeBron, we already know. He's number one, number two, number three, wherever you place him. But we already know his greatness. You already know his Steph. We already say greatest shooter of all time, one of the best players. Like, you kind of know Steph. He got a bunch of rings. You kind of know where he is, so on and so forth. Dwayne Wade's got a few rings. You kind of can place people in certain places. Chris Paul, the reason why Rob G just said point guard, because he was the first person we started to call the point guard, right? You had Magic.
I heard that a long time ago.
You had other great point guards. But he was the one we really started to say that with. He was the first 10 years, he couldn't have been more lovable, right? He's the small guy that's playing great in New Orleans. And in turn, Oklahoma City, because they had, the whole Hurricane Katrina, so on and so forth. Then he's the guy that comes to Lob City. And they're great, they're fun, they're entertaining, they're the sexy pick for a handful of seasons to win it all. He has one of the best campaigns for an athlete commercial-wise with the Cliff Paul and the State Farm. So he's that guy. He's perennial all-star. He's finishing in the top 3 for MVP a couple of times. And you're like, what? He's that guy. One thing started to change when he and that Lob City team started to fail in the postseason, and not just fail like, we couldn't get it done, but collapse, right? They started to give up leads in series. They started to have epic choke jobs. Things started to change about him then. In the last 10 years, to your point, it went from lovable Chris and Cliff Paul, Lob Cities, commercials, one of the best passers in the league, one of the best players, to, man, do they choke. Man, he's always injured. Man, they always come up short. Man, he became a journeyman. Dang, he's a dirty player. Man, he doesn't get along with his teammates. I wonder why he's always leaving these places. And it's just been interesting to see the two split. Like I said, if you go the first 10 or so years and the last 10 or so years of Chris Paul, it has been remarkable to witness, and he's been spectacular. He ranks number 2 all time in both assists and steals. He's the first player with 20,000 points, 10,000 assists, and he's just had a very decorated career. But for me, to see him go from just loved and respected and one of the right up there with his peers and the LeBrons, the D Wades, those guys, KDs, to now kind of becoming an afterthought has been shocking to me. He was one of my favorite players to watch. He always made teams better, but there always, to your point, would be some weird riff with teams, it seemed, at the end. Like it would start off good, they'd win, they'd be successful, then it would end badly. So I think as time gets away, we'll be more reflective on his career and how great he was. But it is really odd to me, Rob. He's one of those just rare players where you can see the divide. And I also wonder, you cover the league. This was a big, huge thing. One of the great what would have beens of all time in the NBA if David Stern okayed that trade, and as I've never seen before, him block a trade, and if he would have paired up and teamed up with Kobe, how that might have changed the trajectory of his career.
Yeah, but you also got to remember the league owned the
two.
team at the time. That was the only asset that the team
I know.
had.
No, I know.
I mean, he didn't do it just to do it.
But I'm just saying. But I mean, if I told you I'm giving you Pau Gasol, Hall of Famer, Lamar Odom, Sixth Man of the Year, excuse me, you think you'd be all right with that. So it's just interesting how it all ended up for Chris Paul versus where it started.
Good luck or good riddance. Where are you?
Good luck. Excuse me. Good luck.
All right. 877-99 on Fox. I just think the way it ended, remember, everybody was ready to crown Chris Paul when they were up 2-0 in the NBA Finals. The Suns and the Bucks, they never won another game. That kind of also changed the way people looked at him because they were doing a coronation. It was all about Chris Paul and how great he was. And look at it, he's finally passed Isaiah Thomas and all these other people they were talking about. And I think that went. I just think the way he went out, there was no way Chris Paul should have gone out that way with the Clippers, which tells you
it's sad.
That says a lot to me.
That's what I mean.
That really does. Right? The middle of the night, they have to fly from California to wherever they were on the road and say, okay, pack your bags. We need you to get out of here. Wow.
CP3 calling it a career after 21 years. You say good riddance. I say good luck, especially the further we get away, we're going to realize, man, you know, we're going to miss those guys. LeBron, KD,
I don't think
CP,
so. You just
Steph.
move on. I don't think that people, like, I know you believe the league can't go on or what. People move on.
Oh, it goes on.
It goes
went on
on.
from Jordan, so it'll go on.
That's what I'm saying. I think it's a part of the history. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you totally forget them. But new people move in, new people move on. Howard Cosell used to be the greatest sportscaster in this country. Nobody mentions him unless you're talking about a history lesson about something. You know what I mean? And I think that the bad part about Chris Paul is just the way it ended. I'm dead serious. When you think when you think about the Clippers having to come on the road and get on a plane to come tell him to come home, what?
I don't think he was ever able, Rob, to change that little bit of him,
right?
That grinds so hard on teams and it's hard and it's abrasive and it's if you don't you see the game as I see it, don't you see how this is how? And I think that little all starts off.
I bet
good
you if somebody
could
could tell him to do it all over again, he might. You know what I mean? Because
it's a weird thing. It's that same chip that got him there because he's 6'0", you know, and it's probably that same grit and thing that got him there. It's the same thing that probably wore down teammates and teams.
All right, Jack in Vermont. You're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Jack? How are you?
Boys, I'm doing good. Thanks for taking my call. Before we get into Chris Paul talk, Rob, you got to let me know how last night went, man. You had me hanging on a thread before you went out and partied.
Yeah, you know what? It was a good time, free food and drink. Not that much eye candy around. It was a
That's interesting at Catch. Like that's kind of the thing there.
Yeah, but it was like it was a thing for like trading cards. You know what I mean? Like so.
Yeah,
there was a lot of guys in there, way more than
you
women.
didn't tell us that part yesterday.
I didn't know what it was.
Sounds
though.
good.
I just knew it was. I knew it was free food and drinks, and eBay was involved, so I figured it would be good. And Jack, the filet mignon was outstanding, so I did have at least it saved the night.
At least you got something out of it. Yeah, at least you got that.
Yeah, it was a good time.
You didn't meet Felicia, but you got filet.
There you go. 877-99 on Fox. Yeah, and then, you know, for him to go out like this, nobody thought, think about this. After all that, nobody thought, well, we might be able to use a veteran point guard. Do you know what I mean? Like in a playoff run. Oh, he's like a coach on the court, or we only need 6 minutes or 8 minutes out of him off. Nobody. Nobody.
We talked about it. What he would do to your locker room, and you're trying to build a culture and young guys, he might be too much, too abrasive, too... You know, don't you get it? Why don't you get it? This is how you got to do it. And it's like, they don't need that. It was the lemon worth the squeeze at this point, Rob. You get what I'm saying? If he comes to a team he's too much. He's trying to outcoach the coaches, trying to do this, and he's not providing any greatness on the court, I could see people being like, nah, it's not worth it. It's not worth all that. All right, Rob, so they're watching us right now, which means another thing they can do is what?
They can subscribe. All you got to do is hit that button, subscribe to The Odd Couple for some of the best sports talk content in the nation.
Facts, and while you're at it, they can like, they can comment, they can share. Do all that for us. We appreciate it. Just do all that right up in here.